I'm Washington Ali, and welcome to Project Become, a project uncovering the unspoken thoughts that stop us from living a life worth living. I'm not here to tell you what to do or who to be, and I certainly don't have the answers. I'm just hoping to uncover the secrets of the world while speaking with explorers, dreamers, thinkers, and creators. I hope we all find something that helps us accept who we've become, and find something that helps us create someone we are proud of becoming. Hey Max, welcome to the podcast. Obviously, we've just been chatting beforehand, but listen, I'm super happy and super grateful that you've chosen to be here with me, and hopefully this conversation is like all of our conversations, which is just like a really great, insightful, friendly, funny chat. And I guess for me, who you are to me is someone who is caring, someone who is compassionate, someone who is adventurous, someone who is powerful in the face of adversity, powerful in unearthing and diving deep into other people's unconscious minds to being able to really help them see what's getting in their way, and I'm just really curious, like that's who I see you as, but how would you describe yourself to other people who may not know you?
Do you know what? That's quite a difficult one, because I don't really describe myself, but I would just say I'm just someone who just genuinely wants to help. I really want to help people in the easiest way possible, but also contradicting myself, not in the easiest way possible, because I don't believe that everything should be easy. Like, for example, when it comes to healing, the analogy I always use is, if you cut yourself, it then heals. You first feel the pain of the cut. If you don't cut yourself, there's nothing to heal. So right now you've got something to heal. So we're going to have to open some old wounds up, and it's going to hurt. But you look at anyone, and I feel like my philosophy is always changing in life as well, in regards to what I view as right and wrong. I'm always, and I'm willing to question myself. I'd say I'm very, I'd hope that people see me as humble, because I like to say, I was wrong. I was wrong with what I used to think. And I've thought that with many things, even my views on veganism. I still believe it to be the right diet, but I don't believe my old beliefs to be the right way of me approaching things. And same with healing and manifestation. Like, I used to think it was literally, you think it and it comes, and it's not like that. There's so much more to it, and it's multifaceted. But I'd hope people would see me as humble. That's really a big goal of mine one day, to just be known as just a humble guy who really just wanted to impact everyone he comes into contact with. And my journal that I brought out, every day I have in the journal, what is the ideal version of myself I can be today? And it is just, how can I act from a place of service today? And that's really just the question I ask myself every day.
That's really beautiful, my bro. You know what? I really felt that. And it's like you're in a constant process of progression, of evolving, of rediscovering and discovering something new about yourself. And you're not willing to put yourself in a box, and you're not willing to allow other people to put themselves in a box either, and I love that analogy you gave, because it's like the healing journey is difficult, and sometimes it does hurt. Yet, as you shared, that wound does heal. And what you've just shared at the right now is super powerful. Like, that's what this whole entire project is about. Who are you being, or and who are you becoming? Who have you been, and who are you becoming? So talk to me about that, man. Like, so right now, who you're being is looking to being caring, compassionate, and I guess resourceful, useful to the rest of the world. And I guess, what did you have to do, or what happened before you got to this point? Who have you been being before you became this version of Max Hindle?
I've just been a nightmare from the majority of my life, really. Like, I didn't really, and if I'm being honest, I always believed that one day I'd be successful. I always believed it. And without even realizing, from a young age, when I used to race motorbikes, I used to visualize. I didn't know what visualization was, but I used to lay in bed, like age 12, 13, visualizing, going, oh yeah, I can see myself going over these jumps. And I used to do that. But then I lost all of that and just went down the wrong road, and around violence, around drugs, getting into fights with loads of people, doing some pretty awful things, really. Just some things potentially unforgivable in some aspects, just really not really good things. And that I've served my bad karma. Like, my karma's come around in many ways, like the type of kid that would literally walk past a car and kick a wing mirror off. And that has come back to bite me in the butt a bit. But that, I believe, is important. And all of that stuff that I did go through has created me today. And what I was talking about in regards to, we have to go through those hard lessons, is something that I'm quite adamant about. And I think even now, that's one of the things that I want to push more, is like, do you know what? Like, be open with your situation that you're in right now. And I'll be completely open on this right now. I literally just bought a load of stuff for my office, and I'm going broke. All my money, well, I've got no cash in my business account. And I'm okay to say that. I'm not scared of it. Like, a few days before, I was a bit like, oh, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? But I was like, I always find a way. I'm a creative. I'm an entrepreneur by nature. I do believe that. And I will always find a way. I'll always find a way. But
I love that.
Yeah, go on.
I wonder, like, is that something that's always been there for you? Because, like, for me, like, to shift back in, like, your stage of being before you've become this version of Max, and don't worry, we'll talk about who you're becoming as well. But who were you being in your past self to have such a level of resilience and such a level of, like, ability to just be so, like, I guess, daring, maybe even careless, maybe even so on and so forth? Like, what was that thing about you that gave you, I'm going to say, the freedom to, or or even the audacity, right? To behave in those manners, to be that person,
be my old self.
Yeah, like, what was there? And, like, I want you to know that I'm not seeing that old self as wrong. For me, I'm seeing it as you said, like, you had to go through all that rough stuff to get there. But, like, what really always I find curious about myself is, right, is, like, I did all of this ridiculously stupid things, and at the time I felt like it was okay to do. So, like, and for me, it allowed me to discover personal expression. So, like, and it allowed me to really set in stone of, like, this I don't know, man, this character, you know, this who I've become now. And it's like, I just want to know, what about yourself, what is it about yourself that allowed yourself to do that, or allowed yourself to be in that way?
Naturally, so by nature, I have a very anxious being. And the thing that allowed me to do it was drugs and alcohol. Because when I was sober, I wasn't really very daring, if I'm honest. I never, I don't know, tell a lie, because I don't know. I think I always liked to high. And I think that's why I love, and recently I've been doing some, like, meditation, breath work, and part of my book, which is literally, like, taking me out of consciousness, and is just a explosion of energy. And I think I really have always thrived on that shot of sort of, like, what feels like adrenaline. And I don't know, and the way that I can explain this, have you ever, Washington, gone into the gym and you've lifted so heavy that you just sort of, like, go, whoa, and you sort of lose your, so I've figured out three ways that I can do that. One, when I'm in the gym and I lift so heavy that my energy is just, like, I'm extending past my ability. And also, when I hit that point, my muscles allow me to continue to go as well. So I'm doing, like, bicep curls, I can still go. When I hit that point, I'm like, whoa, if I can keep balance, I can keep going, and I can really, really hit my peak. Another one, when I meditate and I go into these deep states, and I use breath work, and I use the kintsugi for the mind, method. And I just sort of leave that my body, and I literally collapse down, and I am just spinning. I don't know where I'm going, but I'm just spinning. And then the third one I did this morning, when I do hot and cold therapy, and I was in the shower, I went boiling hot, freezing cold, boiling hot, freezing cold, boiling hot, freezing cold. And I'm literally standing there like, whoa. And I just noticed, I just love that I don't know. I like being out of the normal state, and I think that's why I took drugs so often, because I didn't like being in a normal state. Before it was because I didn't like who I was, but now it's more of an exploration to like, what else is there? I'm sure there's more to life than just skin. There's more to life than just this. Do you know what I mean? There's more. What is it? What is it? And I think I'm just very curious. And I always say to people, I want people to be more curious like a kid, because a child is by far one of the most intelligent beings until they're dumbed down by society and told they have to think like this, they have to do this, they have to say yes, they have to say no, they have to stand up, they have to sit down. If we can go back to that, life's your oyster for sure.
Dude, I could so totally relate. Like that curiosity, that wanting to discover more about self, more even about the world. For me personally, I was so curious about like, what does it even mean to be a grown up? Like, am I gonna get tall? Am I gonna grow into a giant? Like, this was a genuine thought of mine. When I was like 6, 7, I used to think I was gonna be a giant, and that curiosity kept on driving me, kept on pushing me to push the limits. And it sounds like that's where it was delivering you to. It was like, well, this experience, it's almost like your system was saying, there's something wrong with my experience of reality. There's something happening here that isn't quite right. Like, and you can't put your finger on it. So you're like, oh, well, I might as well go like try to search for ways to experience something else, to see if there is something better, to see if there is something that I like, you know? And like, that's powerful, my bro. That's powerful, because like I think to even do drugs, bro, I think is super, super courageous. Like it actually just is, because you're taking something that is going to alter your state of mind, knowingly it's going to alter your state of mind. And it's taking you away from your comfort zone. And like the first time you do it, you don't think it's going to do that. Do you know what I mean? You only find out afterwards. So I think there was the curiosity and also like braveness of stepping into that world. Now I'll pause a bit, because I'm not condoning that type of behavior, right? I'm not condoning it. I'm just putting, like, I'm just hearing your curiosity, your search for altered states of consciousness, and finding it in one way. And now, so that led you up to, so where did that lead you up to? Like, what it got you into trouble? What type of trouble did it get you into?
Well, I was actually, I've been quite lucky. I never got arrested, and a couple of times it was literally running from the police, like whether I was driving or actually physically running away. Only a couple of times, not like ridiculous amounts like some people talk about, but I remember breaking into my old school and stuff like that, and the police being called, and we literally ran away from them and luckily got away. So it was so close to being to really going down a lot further of a route in regards to like getting in a lot of trouble. Like I did a lot of very questionable things that if I would have been caught, I would have 100% been arrested, because some of them were very bad, like driving on ecstasy, MDMA, like off my head at like 6 a.m, people going to work, and there's me just driving to go and get more drugs because I wanted to. So very stupid things. But when you said about the courageous stuff, I do actually agree with you, but also I agree with you. Don't condone that stuff, because all it did was just cause me mental health issues, loss of friends, loss of literally loss of life of people. Do you know what I mean? It's not a good valley to go down. But I remember for the first time being offered cocaine, I was a bit like, a bit nervous, and then I took it and I was like, whoa, this is, and it literally is just a shot of confidence. That's what it was for me. It would sober me up if I got too drunk, so I always had a fallback. I could drink as much as I wanted, and I'd never be off my head and passed out. And I remember literally friends picking me up drunk just to give me a line of coke so that I would wake back up again. And they would literally be putting it like, and I like, I'd be cool with that. Do you know what I mean? I'd be perfectly cool with that. But I feel like my courage really took a leap when I went to do ayahuasca, because I'd never done a hallucinogen. I'd only done like truffles when I went to like Amsterdam, and not even magic mushrooms. And when I went to do ayahuasca, that was like, when I say courage, like that was definitely one of the most courageous things I've ever done. I literally went into a mountain with no one I knew, with some shamans, aged 20, 21, I'm not sure. And took a hallucinogen that is on a scale of like severity. Magic mushrooms are 1, DMT are 10, ayahuasca are 100. It's like 10 times more explosive than DMT. And I've never done anything like that. So I'd say it pushed me to do that, which actually reduced my want to be so spiritual and so calm, which is really good because I'm not that person. I don't think I should ever be that person. There's so much more that I want to do. Like I want to run businesses. I want to be an entrepreneur. I love that stuff. I love doing that. And I don't want to just sit and meditate all day. I really don't. I really enjoy this stuff. And going to do ayahuasca, I feel like that was literally the progression of going, right, I'll smoke cigarettes, I'll drink alcohol, I'll smoke some weed, I'll do some cocaine, I'll do some ecstasy, I'll do some MDMA, I'll take anything, I'll take ketamine. Oh, I'll now go and do ayahuasca. Like that was a big jump, which brought me back to a reality again, which has made me realize I can still be very spiritual, but I don't have to be as, no, turn the other cheek if someone hits you. I'm like, no, someone punches me, I'm gonna punch them in the face. I'm gonna protect myself. Like I'm not gonna like dance around it. No, I need to be kind and loving. And it's like, yes, you should do 99% of the time. But if someone's laying hands on my mum, best know I'm going over there and I'm taking control.
Let's go to town. Yeah. Same, bro. Same. You know, you're right. That is such a big jump. And like, I guess how do I say this? Yeah, since that's a big jump, I guess, who were you being when it was the drugs? Or when I say who were you being, I mean, if you were you being confident, or were you actually just being scared and you're using the drugs? And then also, who were you being when you realized that actually this wasn't the way forward, and then you went to take ayahuasca? Was it like, or did you just bounce from over here to over here?
No, it took a while because I was sober totally for can't remember how many years. I think I did a year sober, then I started drinking again, then I went sober again, and I can have a drink, I just don't really drink. Like I just don't, it's not for me. But I can here and there if I want to, and I can be okay with it. And I don't go back to my old ways at all. But I stopped drinking and all stuff like that, mainly because of what happened in my family life. Like my dad beat up my mum. So that made me want to realize and be like, if I do what he's doing, I'm going to get the same results and I'm going to end up like him. I don't want that. So I just don't want that. I don't want to be him. I don't want to ever be him. After he did all that stuff, he also called me up one day after a wedding he was at with my mum, and made me and my sister believe that he was going to kill himself. And we heard what sounded like his van crashing, but he was putting it on. I don't know how. And sort of that was the day I was like, you know what? I don't care. Like, sort of screw you. I just don't care anymore. I don't care about you. Like blah blah all this, which made me very angry. But that anger pushed me to want to change. And I'm very sure of this. I think anger is actually a very important part of changing, because if you look at Power versus Force by David R. Hawkins, he talks about the consciousness chart. If you're at guilt right now and you're feeling woe is me, like it actually makes perfect sense for you to go, no, screw that little bitch inside. Like, wake up and start making shifts. And it's not as easy as just saying that. Do you know what I mean? There's so much to it. It's really not just as easy as saying screw.
But that anger propels it, right? The anger is a driving force to the 100%. Action, you know? But,
well, that's it. And that's what people actually, I think, need to get to, is to go, damn, I'm going to show people, I'm going to give everyone the middle finger, and I'm going to show them that I'm going to succeed. I'm going to show them that I'm going to be happy. I'm going to show them that I'm going to be confident, because then you start to raise your awareness and your consciousness to then go, why am I doing it for them? Like, I'm not doing anything for anyone but myself. If I'm being totally honest, I'm doing everything for me. Then I want to help my family. Then I want to help my friends. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's me first, not from a place of ego, from a place of like purpose. Without me here, I can't help my family. Without me here, I can't impact people the way that I want to. Do you know what I mean? Like, and that's why I believe also my journey is and has been how it has been, because even recently I was thinking, I was like, things are taking a long time. Like I'm 5 or 6, probably now 6 years on my journey, and I'm still not seeing what some people see. But then I'm looking at it and I'm like, I'm comparing myself to people, and you've got to take that step back. And I just sit with those emotions for as long as I need to. I don't judge them. I just sit with them and go, well, why am I feeling this way? And that's what in my journal as well, I write it down. What did I do that made me feel this way? What did I do that made me feel a bit better today? And I noticed when I have conversations like this, that's one reason why I started the podcast. When I have conversations like this, it really, it lightens my day up. So why not do it? I'm getting content out of it. I'm connecting with amazing people. And I'm having great conversations. I'm expanding my knowledge as well as hopefully impacting other people. So it's kind of a win-win, and it just makes sense. And when I sit and I focus, like my focus at the moment is to grow on YouTube. That's really my biggest focus, because it's the long-term content and the longer form content, which has allowed me to come up with more ideas when I'm focusing on it. My mind is going, how can I impact more people? I've literally got the perfect idea. I'm now just looking for someone, and I'm waiting for it to happen. Do you know what I mean? I'm going to find the right person who wants to, and he's a good videographer and editor and stuff like that, so that we can create something long form that is ideally going to impact a lot of people. That's the way that I see it. And I always see every shortcoming as there's got to be something around the corner. There's got to be something around the corner. And on the other side, 100%. There's always something.
Right. There really is. You know, I was watching an Instagram video, obviously, because we're all on social media. But I was watching an Instagram video of this gentleman who had just bought a brand new camera, and he was a content creator like Munya Chihuahua, the funny guy. And he said to himself when he bought his camera, he said to himself, like, listen, I'm starting on a new journey, and just before I start a new journey, or just before I start something, a lot of the time something bad's going to happen, right? And I know that when that thing happens, I've just got to persevere and keep pushing through. And so he bought a camera, but his camera lens was pretty terrible. So he went and bought the camera lens. He had a shoot with Giggs, the UK rapper, right? And he gets to the shoot, puts the camera on the tripod, like a 50, the 15-pound tripods that are just like so flimsy. Puts the camera on the tripod, and then wind blows it over and breaks his lens, by the way. And in that very moment, he realized that actually, no, it doesn't matter. Like, what actually matters here is my end result. Like, what you're sharing right now, what doesn't matter here is not what's happening right now. It's who am I impacting? Who can I be able to impact, influence, change their world, change their life, inspire, and it's even myself, like I told you, my mic broke as well, right? And literally 2 days before I'm shooting my first ever podcast, I'm thinking, what the bumba, and it's like, I think these moments, these times really, really allow us to discover what is important, what's really there for us. And you're so right. You, yourself, me, myself, we're the most important people first. And like I say, to be selfish in order to be selfless, right? First, you've got to love yourself. First, you've got to know Washington likes this, Max likes that. Washington doesn't like this, Max like this, doesn't like that. And as soon as you start developing that understanding, and as soon as you start going on that quest to just know what you like and what you don't like, and then as soon as you start creating your own values, you're then able to deduce, like, okay, I find this acceptable, I don't find this acceptable. And what I find, what I think people misunderstand is that if you haven't done that inner work of yourself, you then have to do the outer work of your friends, family, and relationships, because what I see a lot of people doing is that they understand what they like and what they don't like, but then they become so rigid in their likes and don't likes against the rest of the world. And I'm not saying compromise on your standards, but I'm saying that you have to live with other people and the rest of the world, and like, so what's your message to that? Because I know I've had a lot of difficulties with that, because like, once you think you know yourself, you're ready to go, you're ready to fire up, and then you get, I don't know, family, friends, associates, businesses, whatever it is, come up and say, no, you can't
Yeah.
do it that way. And you're just like, I've just spent so long cultivating my best self, and now I'm here, and then now you're saying this doesn't work, you know? So could you speak to that?
This probably may rattle a few people, but this is honestly my opinion with it now. Is so many people think, I think it was Ricky Gervais said it. Are you so naive to think that you're going to go through life without being insulted once? And it was something along those lines. I can't remember it word for word, but it was something like that. And I was like, that's so true. Like, you're going to be insulted. What you believe, like I said, I used to be a very, and I literally made a video that I just uploaded today, why I'm no longer a vegan preacher. And I used to be, like, I will always recommend a vegan diet. I always would, a plant-based diet. I personally believe it's the healthiest. And I also don't like to see animals lose their life. That's my honest opinion with it. But I don't agree with the way that some people do it. But then also, I do believe that there needs to be some extremism, because some extremism has actually brought loads of vegan options into the current world, which I totally agree with. Like, when I listen to these vegan extremists, I do agree with everything they're saying. I'm like, no, I hear you. I wouldn't approach it that way. But yeah, the world is what it is. I mean, we can't do anything about it. Like, unfortunately, there are people in the world that are bad. There are people in the world that kill people. They don't care about a chicken. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. They don't care about a chicken. Like if you think that someone in the mafia that's just killed 5 guys is going to worry about this little chicken over there, like, you're very naive. Do you know what I mean? You can't go through life like that. And we do live in a society now where it is very much like and I'm going to be honest, it's sort of like a lot of things I'm actually into. Veganism, law of attraction, like the vegan community, the law of attraction community, where it's like, you can manifest everything and your wildest dreams can come to you. And I'm like, well, yeah, but what you're understanding is it doesn't just happen perfect. Like, life isn't meant to be perfect, because if it was, you would be weak. And you look at people that have had a very easy life, they tend to be the people that are now, unfortunately, very weak. And not in a derogatory, well, I can't say that in a non-derogatory way, but like, people, there are people, and I was one of them. I was very weak, and that's why I had to do the inner work to strengthen myself back up again. And like you said, I did all that work to then realize I'm vegan. I would never date someone who's not vegan. I would only ever be with someone who's confident. And do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like there's morals and values, but I've now changed my tune and say I wouldn't necessarily rule out someone who isn't vegan, because I thought about it. When I have kids, I'm not going to cook them meat. I'm not going to buy meat. I'm not going to do anything. Like, I would never buy it. So if I'm cooking, which I cook anyway, they're going to probably eat vegan. And plus, I'd give them the choice. I'd say, this is what happens, but you're free to choose. And before, I was always like, no, my kids are going to be vegan. I personally, I will encourage it as much as possible. And like I said, I'd never buy it, but they are free human beings. They deserve to choose. And I feel like I limited myself before, and now I'm this is probably only the last year or so I'm opening back up to, well, the world can be anything that I want it to be, sort of thing. And like, you don't have to agree with me. Do you know what I mean? There's, and I think with the pandemic side of things, like, I'm not vaccinated. I'm not getting vaccinated, period. But that doesn't mean that I'm not going to be friends with people who are. And what I'm seeing, and what actually pushed me to this point, was so many people that were vaccinated that were so angry at me. And I'm like, well, you're protected. Like, you're protected. You do you. You did that for you. If you did it for good reasons, then I actually appreciate you for doing it for good reasons. I'm doing it for my good reasons. Like, don't tell me what to do. And I feel like that's my attitude in life. Is, you try and tell me to do something, I will actively do the total opposite. Why did I go vegan? Because not many people were vegan. Why did I become a hypnotherapist? Because there wasn't many hypnotherapists. Why do I do half of the stuff that I do? Because not many people do it. And I just like to be different, if I'm honest. I like to be the opposite of what society sees as a normal. So people go out our age, are out clubbing, drinking, taking drugs. I'm literally at home most of the time working. But I know that in the future it's going to pay off, and that's why I do all the stuff that I do.
Yeah, 100%. That's really, really, like, you took me on a journey right there, my bro. You took me on a journey right there. And you know what, right? I think it's so funny that if if everything is one way, or if there's only one way to do everything, that then means that you will become weak because you're not resilient to other forces. You know, I think I forgot what the story exactly is, but if you plant a tree in an area with no wind,
Yeah.
as soon as you take that tree outside, it will blow, it will
Mm.
break. Like it will literally, the twigs will literally break. And it's like, if you don't have opposing viewpoints, if you don't have opposing decisions, if you don't have opposing anything, man, life just becomes bland. It becomes boring. You know, I always say, like, listen, like, if everything was perfect, what's the point? What's the point of being here? You know, what is the point of being here? And it's like, I always think to my life that the times where I've experienced probably the most amount of frustration and probably the most amount of joy as well is when I've been against something, whether that be pressure, whether that be difficulty, whether that be just like, even like pressure could be, I could be playing a game of football, or I could be playing FIFA and it's like a proper tense game. Like, it's tense and I'm still enjoying it. I don't like losing 3-0, 4-0, 5-0, or even 6-0 by my younger brother, but like that fight is enjoyable. Use that as an
example. When I used to play, I don't have an Xbox, but when I used to play Xbox, if you won every single game, it gets boring. It actually does.
So boring. Oh my goodness.
And then when you start losing too much, then it gets boring. So you sort of find that sweet spot. And I feel that's what life's about, is finding that sweet spot of, and that's what they say a flow state is, where your ability reaches like the competition, your ability reaches sort of the competition, or the difficult ability reaches difficulty, then that's where you want to reach. Do you know what I mean? Because if you're the best of the best, there's nowhere to go. If you're the worst of the worst, there's only one way to go. So actually being the worst of the worst actually makes more sense, because you can go up. And I was just watching a video before we came on here on TikTok. I think it was TikTok or Instagram. And it's this guy, I can't remember his name, but he's like a real estate investor entrepreneur, like e-com real estate, like does loads of stuff. He's worth a lot of money and he's quite young. I'd say 32, 33 maybe. He said, he was like, I started my journey at 21. I didn't make my first 100,000 until I was 27. Then a year later, I made $1 million. Then a couple of years later, I made $1 million in a month. And I was like, that's what so many people don't realize. The compound effect happens in our life. And the reason being is our skills are constantly equating and we're getting better. Do you know what I mean? Like, for example, 3 years ago, I didn't have the work ethic that I have today. I couldn't have done a video every other day on YouTube. I couldn't have done a video every day on TikTok and Instagram. And I'm sort of like changing that up a bit of what I want to do, or posting on LinkedIn every day. I didn't have that work ethic. I had to build it. And the way I started with that was with one Instagram account 5 or 6 years ago that I posted every day on. I then started posting on 2 Instagram accounts. Then I realized that was too much for me. So then I went back down to 1. And then I started doing Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, and then I started doing all of them. And now I've realized the work ethic that I've got. But not only that, you look back at some of my old YouTube videos, you realize the incapability I had to edit videos was just horrendous. Like the documentary I made on when I did ayahuasca, when I rewatch it, I'm like, this is atrocious. Like what my intention with it was pure, very pure. I wanted to enlighten people up to it. I wanted to open people's eyes up, but it's just an awful thing to watch because the music's too loud. The music's so screechy. It's just awful. But now I've got, and I'm not saying I'm the best editor, do you know what I mean? But I've gained a skill to edit, which long term will help me realize when I employ someone one day, I know the standard that I'm looking for. Do you know what I mean? So like, if I didn't know what it was, I could just pay someone X amount and they could get one video done in a week. And I don't know whether that's good or not. I know that I can get a few videos done in a day, so no one can BS me and say differently. But then also going back to what you said before about the society we live in, I also do believe there's more need for humility and compassion to people to realize, like, yes, just because your granddad was treated that way doesn't mean that we should be treated that way. Do you know what I mean? Like, but we do need to realize. So for example, I will be, and this is just my philosophy of how I will be with my kids, which again may change. I'm open to changes, but with my kids in the future, I would always say, like kindness, compassion, all that kind of stuff. But go and ride a bike and fall off of it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna
Yeah.
protect you from everything, because then you will be weak. And if you're protected from everything, you are weak. And that's what I want to encourage, is just like, you're gonna fail, you're gonna have difficulties. I come across them all the time. Like I said, my bank account, it's gone kaput recently. That's just the way it is. But that's making me become creative, and that is something that I'll always, forever, like, remember and know that I've got the skill to do it. I'm adaptable. If something's not working, I'll try something else. If something's not working, I'll try something else. Worst case scenario, I'm not thought that far yet. I don't think of the worst case scenario. I just thought that's a skill in itself as well. Like, to not think of the worst case, to go to something that's more powerful. And that's where I'm hopefully at now, is just, even when I feel bad, I know that something good is coming.
100%. And I think with a mindset like that, it, number one, you add to society, you add to your community, you add to other people around you, because no matter where you're going, you're being a beacon of light, you're being joyous, you're being courageous, you're being a force to be reckoned with. You know, so everywhere you're going, it's you're inspiring others, to put it quite simply. And you know, I've been really thinking about what it means, or what direction the world's going, and what the world really needs. And like, for me, I couldn't agree with you anymore. It needs compassion, humility, kindness, and I think it needs a level of a level of straightness, and also diversity of ideas, you know, and also people being willing to share their stories, and not being celebrated for being a victim. You know, being celebrated for being celebrated, not just because you went through hardship, but being celebrated because you still worked hard, you still did all that you can do. Being celebrated just because you are here, just because I am happy to see you today, you know, not because I have an agenda that I can only hang out with vegan friends. You know, all my friends have to be vegan, and they have to have their pinky finger sawn off. If they don't have their pinky finger sawn off and they're vegan, I can't be friends with them, you know, like, and it's like, we're trying to, in my opinion, we're trying to create sub communities that are inclusive yet still exclude other people, you know, and I agree, we have to have communities. Yet, if we're going to have a community's values should then still extend to other communities, because we are human, you know? So, like, tell me how you're sharing your message of humility, kindness, and community to other people. Because I know you have your own few communities, your meditation community and things like that. So please, like, share with me how it is that you're spreading that kindness, that community to the rest of the world.
So my weekly, I do like a weekly group, and I have a community of just amazing people in it. There's not loads at the moment. I think in total 7 or 8, and something like that. And it's meant to be a small community. Do you know what I mean? And we do weekly sessions. I'm potentially going to do a separate community which is bigger, which won't cost as much. Like, it's not expensive. Do you know what I mean? It's $29.99 a session. It's literally pennies. But I want to do one at a bigger scale, but they don't have as close contact, so I wouldn't charge as much. I just wouldn't. And that's people that couldn't afford to work with me one-to-one, then they join that. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's different levels to it. So that's, I think, is it's being scarce with my time with the right people. So for example, I can work one-to-one with anyone, but that costs money. That's just the way it is. Just like a plumber wouldn't come around your house and fix your toilet for free.
So, but how are you fixing their toilet? How is it exactly that you're meeting these people in this small group that you have right now? This close family style group that you have right now, and then also like the larger group that you're going to be able to help. Like, how is it that you're making a difference to them? In their lives?
I'm putting them in a trance state, and I'm opening them up to new ways of thinking. That's everything that I do. Everything that I do. I believe I'm not a healer. The only reason I have healer in my Instagram bio is just because people that are looking for a healer are looking for me. But I do not heal people at all. I would never claim to ever heal someone. I help you heal yourself through trance, so hypnosis, and then helping you see everything from a different light, because I know I have the ability to do that. I've done it with ridiculous amounts of people. And I don't need to even be in the same room as you. I do it on Zoom. And the fact is that if you can change your mind, if you can change what's going on in here and sort of the monologue, how you view yourself, how you view a situation, the situation, it changes. And it's like Wayne Dyer said, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And a situation can have you and me could both look at a situation. We can have two totally different experiences with the situation. The situation's the same. The issue is not the situation. The issue is how we view the situation. So my goal is to, and that was the goal with the book. That's the goal with my content. That's the goal with anything I create, is to give someone a different perspective. I think that's everything I do. When you work with me one-to-one, it's to give you a different perspective on the situation. Like I said, I can't remove the trauma that you've been through, but I can remove the emotional connection, or I can help you remove the emotional connection to it, which therefore gives you wisdom, but also strength. Because like I said, and I always say this to people, look, you're going to cry in a session. 99% of people cry. I'm literally here to make you cry. But like I said, if you break your nose and then it heals like that, what do? They re-break your nose and it hurts. You know what I mean? That is painful, but it needs to happen to heal properly. And same thing happened with me when I broke my back. I was 16. I fell off a motorbike and I fractured my spine. When I healed like wonky. And I remember one day I walked in and my mum was like, "Why are you standing like that?" I was like, "Standing like what?" And I had to have a back brace and everything. Turns out when I healed, there was no muscle down the right side of my spine. So I was literally just like I had to go to physio and I had to not re-break my back. I was lucky I didn't have to, but I just had to relearn muscle down the right side of my spine. For example, you put this like metal spoon, I don't know what it was, down one side and you could feel muscle. The other side, it just went straight into my back. There was no muscle there. And I don't know whether that was my spine was dislodged. I don't really know. And I was told you've got a 40% chance that by a certain age you'll struggle to walk. And I was like, yeah, BS. I'm not going to agree with that. I don't believe that at all. I truly believe that healing is possible, from physical healing to mental healing to spiritual healing to emotional healing. They are all 100% possible if you have the mindset towards it. And I was doing a podcast the other day, and I was saying, look, things that work, they only have to happen once to work. Like healing only has to happen once. But think about it this way. Even people that have got cancer, some people go through chemotherapy and it doesn't work. Does that mean chemotherapy doesn't work? No, it works. It does work. And I'm not going to deny it, because it does. And the science proves it. But you can also have spontaneous remissions, which people like Joe Dispenza talks about. And they're having these, like, they're healing from stage 4 cancer. You're going to die. They've been told you're going to die. They heal themselves. Like, what is real? And that's why I love looking at everything, absolutely everything, the spiritual, the science. I like looking at everything and saying, okay, well, why don't we just do what's best for us? Have you ever thought of that? Like some people that are going down the only spiritual route, maybe science is your answer. People that are only going down the science route, maybe spirituality is your answer. People that are going down a vegan diet, maybe a non-vegan diet is your answer. Do you know what I mean? Like be open to everything. Like don't be naive to it. And I think, that's my goal, is to open people up to just a different way of thinking and realize, like, be humble with yourself. Like, just because you were wrong, admit you were wrong. Like right now, there's so many people in the world. Like I saw something you posted on your story earlier. People still won't admit that they're wrong. Just admit you're wrong. Like stop sugarcoating it. It's okay to be wrong. Like don't say you're never wrong, because we are wrong. I am wrong. I'm wrong with things, but I'm also right with things. That doesn't make me less of a person. If anything, I feel like that makes me more of a person, because it makes you realize, well, yeah, I'm okay to admit that. Like, all right, I was wrong. I apologize. I hold my hands up. But then when you're wrong, don't tell me, don't have a go at me. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to, maybe I'll be a bit like, I did tell you. But I'm not going to like rub it in your face. You know what I mean? I'm
rub it in your face. Yeah. Yeah. Do you know what? I'm so like you. I'm like, sometimes I'm just like, listen, mate, like, I did tell you, like, this was the most like probable outcome. Like, it's okay. It's okay though. It's fine. It is fine. But like, listen, just like next time, just like maybe think it through a bit more. And, you know, I think what you do is so powerful. And I guess like one of your slogans, I might butcher this, is like you like to coach people to be able to coach themselves. Yeah. And I guess, like, what are the main principles that you think people need before they get into a seat in front of you, or a phone call, or not even you, before they're ready for change? What do you think they need? And earlier, I know you mentioned anger and frustration, but like, what else do you think it is? What ingredients do you think make a perfect cocktail for someone to be ready for transformation?
It isn't much. You just need a desire, a desire and a work ethic. I think they're the two things, because like what I always, and what I'm going to start doing, I'm just finding a way to really systematize this, but I want people to all do my 30-day meditation challenge because it's free. You all have access to it. Like, I despise excuses. I really do. I've made excuses. I used to make excuses about everything. I still make excuses about things today. Do you know what I mean? I do. But
Same.
I want to, like, start with something, then go and get my book. Do you know what I mean? Like, start getting the information. Information alone doesn't change anything. Applied information does. Now, applying something daily, like a meditation challenge, you're building muscles, you're building habits. So these little things that you can do, which, like I said, go and watch all my YouTube videos. There's 500 free videos, and literally over, I don't even know how many hours. It's like thousands of hours if you watch all of them. I don't know. Maybe thousands, maybe hundreds. I don't know. No, it would be thousands. It would be way over thousands.
It would be probably thousands.
Like go and watch it. Like, don't just look. And this is the thing. I feel like we look for a quick fix, which isn't necessarily our fault, because we live in, like I said, I bought some stuff for my office from Amazon to make my filming. It's coming tomorrow. You
still want it today?
Yeah, I still want it today. I still want it today.
Yeah, I know. I want it today.
What do you know what I mean? I literally, so one of the things said it will come on the 8th of February. And I was like, I was getting pissed off at that. Because we expect things tomorrow. And that's the society we live in. Like you watch people, and I watch people all the time. The law of attraction community is a very easy thing to sell, because you're selling positive vibes. It's very easy to sell to people. But I look at a lot of people and I'm like, well, you're saying this, but you're not actually doing it. Do you know what I mean? Like, yes, you're saying that you feel good, but then you realize, like, you're saying all you have to do is think a certain way. And it's like, yeah, but then you are also in a state of, like, anxiety and depression. And I'm not knocking that, because people go through that. I've been through it. So I'm not knocking that. But if you truly believed what you said, you wouldn't be in that place. You just wouldn't. You would be blissful 24/7. When my view on it now, which I used to have that view on it, that was the way life was. But my view on it now is, well, yeah, you can manifest things, but stop trying to do techniques. Just do it constantly until it happens. That's my point of view of it. Like, you want to get bigger muscles? Go to the gym enough times to get bigger muscles. That's the only way. Do you know what I mean? Like, don't look for the quick fix, because it's just not there.
So I've experienced people who, let's say, they try maybe 4 or 5 times and they experience rejection. That's how they experience it. And then they crawl back into their world. You know, they crawl back into their comfort zone. They crawl back into what they know to be safe, which is, the world's a fucked up place. Fuck the world. I don't want to be around the world. I know best. The rest of the world doesn't. And they go back into that. So, and those same people are feel as if they're, let's say, uncared for. You know, they feel as if they're not careful. So how would you, I guess, navigate the conversation for a person like that? A person who does try, but when they do try, they get knocked down and they get completely discouraged. What do you think that person would need?
That is simple. I know the exact answer to that. So anyone that's struggling with that, you've got it right here. Don't start big. Like, start with the tiny things. Do you know what I mean? Like, for example, let's say I can help someone overcome a fear quite easily, but some people find it more difficult than others. That's okay. And I don't want people to think that just because it doesn't go after one session of hypnosis, it will never go. It's not true. Some people just need a different approach. And that's, again, being having humility to say, okay, this didn't work. Let's do something else. Like I did a session with someone. the first session didn't work. So I was like, oh, the second session's on me. It's on me. I'll do it for you. But we'll do a different approach. And it worked. So I was like, there we go. I just had to be humble enough to say, like, okay, I'm not going to take any money because you paid for a session, you paid for an outcome. Do you know what I mean? And it was that way. But
respect.
If someone's got a fear of
just to interject there, like, what I think stands out about that encounter is that obviously that person didn't give up, but you yourself gave a helping hand to that person. So I just want to acknowledge you for that, because it didn't work, and that person may have been like whatever they may have been like, and you were just like, obviously out of the goodness of your heart, you were just like, yeah, let's go again, because there's a lot of people that I personally know that would have been like, listen, you didn't get the result, it's not on me, and unfortunately, but here's something else I can offer you, but here's X, whatever, you know. So, and that I just want to acknowledge you for that, for just like being there for that person.
It's mainly because I've had experiences where I wasn't like looked out for in that way, so it made me think, oh, and that's why I'm like that, because I wasn't looked out for. So it's like, was me not being looked out for a bad thing? No, that was really good, because that has now served people that I've come into contact with, and that's always going to serve people. And like in my weekly group, I do giveaway of free sessions every now and again. And now for a session, I'll charge upwards of £400, because it's just the amount of time. Like I saw a video, a meme the other day, and it was £9,999. Oh no, sorry, £1 for turning the screw, and £9,999 for knowing which screw to turn. And it's like, that's so true. Like, I know how long it's how much time I spend, which I can't BS myself. Every single day without fail, I'm learning something new, how to be better at hypnosis, how to be a better therapist, how to be better to help more people. I'm always learning that. And I know that I'm coming from a place of compassion. So I know it. But that doesn't hurt to give things away for free. Do you know what I mean? Like, I do stuff for free for people. I do. And not because I don't value myself, because I in that moment in time, my podcast is called Intuition, Intuition by Max. And my intuition was telling me, give that person something for free. They need it. And I did a session with one of the girls in my group. I just picked a name out of a hat and her name came out, and she needed it more than anyone at that moment in time. Not in the world, do you know what I mean? And maybe not even in the group, but she needed it and she got it. And we worked through a lot of stuff, and she was just like, I just can't thank you enough. And I'm like, that's what I love. But at the same time, I do want to be successful. I do want to run a big business. So it's like, it's finding that balance, and it's okay to do both. Do you know what I mean? But sort of going back to what you were saying about what can someone do, that someone who is struggling right now is taking small steps. And a good example that I'll always use is, if you've got a fear of dogs, my honest opinion wouldn't be go and touch a dog. Why jump to stage 10 when you're at step 0.6? Do you know what I mean? You're not even at stage 1, you're at stage 0.6. Step 1 would literally be watch a cartoon dog on the screen. Can you regulate yourself and control your breathing? Can you control yourself? Can you control your thoughts? Then maybe watch or look at a picture of an image of a dog. Can you regulate your breathing? Can you regulate your thoughts? Then watch a video of a dog online. Can you regulate your breathing? Can you regulate your thoughts? Then watch a dog through a window. Can you regulate your breathing? Can you regulate your thoughts? And eventually you start to become sort of immune to that fear. And anyone that's struggling with it is just start small. Don't start like a professional. And I know we want to do it. I do know we want to do that. Like I've got a very addictive personality. A great example, which you're going to laugh at, is when I get addicted to stuff. Look, my bin is just full of orange pills because I've been eating oranges recently. I've been addicted to oranges. But before that, my bin, if I'm being honest, was full of chocolate wrappers because I was addicted to chocolate for a bit.
Chocolate.
Sometimes it's a good thing. Sometimes maybe good. Sometimes maybe shit. But for real. Sometimes it serves me because I use it to get addicted to good things. But other times it really drags me down. And I was saying on another podcast the other day, if I start playing a game on my phone, I can get addicted to that game very easy. That does not serve me, and it just wastes my time. But I'm glad that I've got that, because then if I can push myself to discipline myself to do good things, then it serves me. So going to the gym as an example, don't go to the gym for 2 hours a day, every day, 7 days a week, because after week 1, you're going to scrap it. Start literally, if you even want to just start it by doing this, put your shoes on, walk to your car, then walk back in the house. The next day, put your shoes on, walk to your car, drive to the gym, turn around, drive back home. The next day, put your shoes on, walk to the car, drive to the gym, walk inside the gym, go to the toilet, come back out and go home. And just every day you're gradually doing more. And that's why my meditation challenge starts at 3 minutes, because people BS me all the time and say, I don't have time to meditate. I'm like, that's a lie. That's such a lie. I'm like, yes, you may be busy. Like I'm like even stuff that I do. I run a business. I create content. I wear all the hats. Like ironically, I wear all the hats. But I still have the time to do even today I did 15 minutes in the morning. I'll probably do about half an hour later, but I aim to do about an hour total a day, 30 minutes in the morning, 30 minutes in the evening. We all have 3 minutes.
Nice.
And then after day 1, it goes to 4 minutes. After day 2, it goes to 5 minutes, 6 minutes, 7 minutes, 8 minutes, 9 minutes, 10 minutes, 11, until eventually you can meditate for half an hour. That's my goal with people.
That's amazing.
Because it's about discovering yourself, and that's where it starts. So if anyone wants to do anything new, is admit you're an amateur and start as an amateur. Don't try and admit you're the big businessman going into business when it's your first business. Do you know what I mean? Like I said, I'm not, and that's something that I'm even still learning to do, is just be humble with it. And like I said, I haven't told anyone my money situation, but I'm like, screw it. I was like, I might even make a video today, just talking about it and saying, look, you can be doing things the right way, but still you can lose all your money, and that's fine. You just adapt and you just grow. Just be open with that stuff.
Yeah. I love that, bro. I love that. And it's like, for me, what really sticks out to me is that you just consider that you're not the best. Consider that you don't know everything. Just consider that you might be emotionally unstable. Just consider that you might have anger issues. Just consider that you might actually be happy. You might actually be positive. Just consider, just take a look, and then once you've had a look, take small gradual steps. And like, honestly, like, I think you're brave. Sharing your situation with the world, and I think that's going to inspire a lot of other people as well. Like, honestly, like when I hit those rock bottom lows, I only like talking about them after I've been through them. So like, I respect you so much for that, man. So to wrap it all up, my bro, I guess just sum it up. Who is it? So you let us know in this whole entire podcast who you have become, and like, I just want you to have it on record here today, who you think you're becoming, and then also who or what you think the world is becoming, and after you've shared that, I'd really, really love to hear, I'm pretty sure everyone else would love to hear, where they can find you, where they can watch your videos, how they can get in contact with you, how they can try and get a hug off you, but yeah, like, what is the world? What do you think the world is becoming, and who are you becoming within this world that is becoming in such a way?
The world, I think, is going in a way where there will be big divisions. I think there is going to be bigger divisions than a lot. But I think out of that is going to create something beautiful. I do believe that. And the way the world is going, like I said, at the end of the day, there's a lot of negatives to it, but there's a lot of positives. Do you know what I mean? Like, technology is making things easier for us, but it's making us very reliant on technology. Like, I don't know anyone's phone number. Years ago, everyone knew everyone's phone number. I've lost the ability to do that. Like, I just don't know how. I only just know my number. Sometimes I even forget my own number because I don't need to know it, because when I go and type it in anywhere, it autofills itself on Google. Do you know what I mean? I don't need to know it. So yes, there's good, but there's also bad to that. But just being open to it and being like, look, like, that's the way the world is. Like, we want things easier. And I suppose that's a good thing. Like, people come up with incredible ideas that make the world an easier place to live in. So I think it's yin and yang. There's black, there's white with everything. Black t-shirt, white hat. That's the way life is. Like, there's the mixture of both, and we need the mixture of both, because, like I said, if it was just one way and everything was positive and great, like, we'd never appreciate it, because it would just get boring, and vice versa. If the world was just like dark and dreary, everyone would just want to leave the earth. Do you know what I mean? So I think it's just yin and yang moving forward, and that's important. And I feel like that's the way the world's going. But I feel like it's overall positive. I really do. And it's making a lot of shifts. And I'm grateful to just watch all the things that are going on in the world and be a part of it right now. Like, we live in the greatest period of time right now. Let's face it, we do.
Of all time. Respect for knowing that, man. A lot of people don't know that.
Like, they don't realize how lucky we actually are. Do you know what I mean? Like, we connected because of online. We're now doing this.
Because, literally, bro, we go surfing together. We have dinners together. Like, because
hold on. Don't try and BS people saying we go surfing. We sit on a paddleboard in the middle of the ocean. But do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm so blessed, so blessed. My business is all online. Like, I can get up and go wherever I want. I've connected with so many people worldwide.
Literally,
I'm so grateful, and we do live in the best time. And then for me, man, I'm just looking forward to like what I'm doing. And I've had this realization recently: is I'm natural creative, and I think like I want to make a documentary. I want to make a series of documentaries. I've got so many good ideas that I really want to do. I'm just now looking for the right people to connect with that have the ability to really make a documentary. And I want to work with some people long term, and also run retreats and just be someone who opens people up to a new level of thinking, just through the content that I make, just through coming to my events and, like I said, retreats and stuff like that. And I just want people to realize that there's a different life outside of what they're currently living. And yes, it's not going to be easy. Yes, you can't just quit your job and turn around and go and do this. It takes a bit of time, but just like going to the gym, we can build muscles in anything. And I want to give people the opportunity to realize that, whether you're 50, whether you're 20, whether you're 12, whether you're 70, whether you're 90, whether you're 150, I don't care. Change is possible. And I just want to open people up to that. You can change. You really can. You've been waiting for that the whole time, haven't you?
No, I haven't. I literally just thought about it as you were sharing with me, bro. I was just like,
that's hilarious.
Yes, it's what I felt. It's what I felt like, bro. Do you know what I mean? And I couldn't. Like, that's powerful. That's powerful. You said a few things in there. I didn't know you wanted to create documentaries, so that is a big like when if you watch this over, you'll see my face going. You sharing that, I was not expecting that. That's really wonderful. Thank you, bro. Please tell us where people can find you. If you have anything you want to promote, anything you want to share, anything that just like whatever you got, bro. Like, let us know. You're here to help people, bro. And if people don't realize that, they need to get out.
Yeah, come back when you need me. No, I'm joking. Like I said, free content. Like, use my free content. That's why I make it. Like, don't BS me and say you can't afford it because you can. It's free. It doesn't cost anything. You don't even need a subscription for YouTube to get all my free stuff. So go and find my YouTube. Type in Max Hindle Hypnosis and you'll find all my stuff. There's videos every other day on there. Like, there's a lot of content. There's over 500 odd videos. And I only aim to increase my volume when I've got a team, when I can. Like, right now, every day was a bit much for me with all my platforms, with my business. So it was getting a bit much, but my goal is to eventually get a couple a day. Do you know what I mean? That's my goal. Then move on to like my more affordable stuff, like the book. Do you know what I mean? Go and grab Kintsugi for the Mind. It basically takes you through a process of making changes, the changes I went through, the changes many people went through, and then even a process at the end that comes with an accompanying, if you scan the QR code, comes with an accompanying hypnosis track that takes you through the process of the Kintsugi for the Mind method. Then moving on to, if you want to find me on Instagram, just type in Max Hindle. You'll find me on Google, Instagram, YouTube. You'll find me anywhere, any social media, LinkedIn, everything like that. Or Maximilian, which is spelled MAXIM 111141 it was a bit of a ridiculous name, but it works. It works. Maximilian.
It's hard. I think it's sick, right? I think it's sick. I think it's the smartest thing I've ever seen. When I saw that, I was like, this is genius. Love Attraction Crew, where you at? And then, yeah, just like I always do a free session with someone just to see where they're at.
But I always encourage people, please make sure that you know that it does cost to work with me, because I'm not a charity. I'm not a charity. I'm running a business at the end of the day. But if you can't afford it, use my free stuff. Like, don't think you can't, and don't think you can't message me as well, because I always see how I can help. But there's levels to working with me, and I wanted to be able to reach everyone. That's why I do the weekly group. That's why I have all the free content. So there's just levels to work with me depending on where you're at, because I never used to have money. I never used to have any money. And ironically, I'm in that situation right now, which is making me become resourceful. But I know I've got it coming in. Do you know what I mean? I know I can find a way. I know I can get around it. That's my attitude towards it now. But when I had no money, I couldn't even afford books. So I used to use the Audible. I used to make different Audible accounts just to get another free book. That's what I used to do. I used to be resourceful to it. So use the free stuff until you can start paying for books. When you can pay for books,
I just YouTube.
Yeah, see, I was just going the long way with it. Maybe there you go. I wasn't as resourceful as I thought. But there's different avenues that you can go down. If you can't afford it, do it for free. If you can afford a little bit, I'd always recommend to work with someone one-to-one. It's just faster. Like when I wanted to learn LinkedIn, I worked with someone. She just taught me everything that I needed to know in one session. I was like, oh, makes sense. Cost me about 700 quid. But I was like, well, I got the answers. I couldn't be bothered to learn it because I had spent so much time learning all the other platforms that I just couldn't be bothered. So I just spent my money to get around someone who knew what they were talking about. Easiest way to do anything. If you want to get fast results, come and work with me. It takes a month and we can get those results. But I do also say healing is still a process. Do you know what I mean? That's why I do it over a month. But also other things will pop up in our life that I don't stop bad things from happening. I help you heal from the things that have happened. So don't expect negative things to not happen, because that still can happen. But we can heal anything you've been through. And I truly believe that I can help anyone become their own healer if they give me the chance.
Thank you so much, bro. Absolute pleasure to have you here.
Absolute pleasure to talk to you, Washi. I love you, bro.
I love you too, my bro. I love you too. Listen, peace. Take care.